the river flooding in the Carolinas is taking its toll on critical infrastructure. Like here in Goldsboro, North Carolina, where a 50 to 60 foot breach was found in a cooling pond dam at a Duke Energy power plant. Dangerous flooding conditions are expected into the weekend. We're told, my producers tell me, that there were no chemicals in that pond. Jim, let's hope that's the case, because that water doesn't look very...
No, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what has to go into that.
Yeah, I don't know how that
cooling,
works.
They're using it as a cooling, mechanism. But I don't think the sediment's a good thing. Anyway, let's talk about this because there's so much water out there. And there's been so much water in North Carolina as it makes its way out to the Atlantic, which is what the rivers do. They take the water from inland and take it out toward the oceans. You can actually see the sediment. Like there's the Cape Fear River, the Waccamaw River down toward the south, the Petey River as well, but many other rivers as well, where the sediment shows up very, very well on the satellite picture because it is just flowing out now into the ocean. And you can see certainly that kind of sediment, especially coming from Cape Fear. That's pretty incredible. All right, so flood warnings are going to continue through here. We have so many rivers that are not only in major flood stage, but some of them that are still above the old record, for goodness sakes. And even when we get out of major flood stage for some of these next week, they will be for quite some time into moderate flood stage. So until that whole situation just kind of oozes out, we are going to be up pretty high. Now, the last gauge reading that we got, I think, was a little while ago. How old is this sheet on weather? The lumbar. Okay, so yesterday. So this is yesterday's gauge. We have not gotten a new reading since, but the point I want to make with this is the graph stays up above the old record through the weekend, and then up above in the major flood stage through next Tuesday night. So that is a long time, Stephanie, to have a river at levels it has never been before.
All right. Well, we want to continue to talk about the river flooding in North Carolina throughout Hurricane Matthew and the days of flooding that have followed. Governor Pat McCrory has been in the driver's seat for North Carolina. 20 people have lost their lives across the state, most of them in floodwaters. The governor spoke to our Justin Michaels during a visit to a flood shelter in Lumberton.
And one thing we realize, water kills. It's not just the wind that you see in the hurricanes, but water kills, and water is... In the Pembroke, Lumberton area of North Carolina, whole neighborhoods have been wiped out, and people have lost everything. They've lost their homes, they've lost their belongings, they've lost their medicine, they've lost their cars if they had them, they lost their pets. So we're dealing with a dire situation, and our first goal is to not have loss of life with new water coming into another part of the state, and then in recovery. With these people, our immediate need is to get them medicine and clothes and shelter. Our next goal is we're working with FEMA. I've had several conversations with President Obama, and I really appreciate it. FEMA's doing an outstanding job. Their goal is to get us shelter. We're probably going to have to temporarily move several thousand people into hotels and then move them into FEMA type of trailers.
Well, Governor, what has the president said to you? What kind of help can the federal government give? What's
FEMA, we have to have FEMA help. This is what FEMA is for. The main help we're going to need is with power, roads. We've had roads washed out. We still have 3 major highways closed in this area. I-95, which is the connection. I-95 is the connection of Florida and New York. You are going down I-95 a few miles from here. It's shut down. It's been shut down for 4 days now, and we don't know how many more. We still have a stream going through I-95. We have a detour around, but that's where our drownings occurred. We lost several people. So these are some life and death issues, and not just here in Robeson County, but we're getting warning. The good news is that the great thing that we have now compared to Floyd in 1999, the computer models can predict how high the river is going to be, so we can almost tell which final structures are going to be.
Let me get this report.
Orders are now much more specific. And
Ooh.
and Kinston is the main area of concern.
Now, Governor McCrory noted that just because a hurricane is downgraded from a Category 4 to a Category 1, that doesn't mean it can't produce significant damage to seeing in North Carolina. And by the way, most people are killed due to freshwater flooding when it comes to hurricanes. We had in Tennessee to talk